Hello. Hello? Wait. Oh, we're good. Are we live? Are we doing the thing? There we go. We're live. We're doing the thing. How's it going? Today, we're talking about OI. Okay, so OI. What is OI? OI is your introverted observer. That is your NI or your SI. So, with NI and SI, okay. Here's sort of how I want to approach it, right? So we're talking about voids, we're talking about clarity, right? Because I want to get away from I'm doing organizing, therefore I'm an organizer, right? Like we can do better than this, right? OP's, we're going on solid 2 years. We can do better. So with OI, organization comes close. Planning comes close. Control, order. Here's how I think of it. So as you may notice, so I'm lead OI, right? So I'm an INTJ. I'm a cranked up INTJ, but I'm an INTJ nonetheless. If you watch all of my videos, with like very, very few exceptions, I am always wearing a hat. I'm like never not wearing a hat. And I started to think about this, right? Because I noticed it and I was like, boy, there's a part of me that just really likes wearing a baseball cap. I don't know why. And the more I dug into it, it's that because I have sensory at the bottom, but it's double activated, so I respect it. I'm not a visual person. I'm just not. But I do observe chaos. Right? Like if I see something and it feels chaotic, there is a part of me that like doesn't like it. It's very strange, right? So today, right? So before I put the hat on, like this is what my hair looks like, and I fucking hate it because this feels chaotic to me, a lead OI, right? You got the little fucking cowlick there and the hair, it's doing all sorts of crazy. I don't like it. I hate it. The only time you will ever see me without a hat on, I'm going to put this away because it's bothering me. The only time you will see me without a hat on is right after I get a haircut. Like if I make a video after I get a haircut, or if it's like a day or so after a haircut, then yes, I absolutely will do a video without a hat because the hairdresser has already taken care of the chaos thing for me, right? So it's like, oh, the chaos went away. I don't need to do anything to like rein in the nonsense, right? But once it starts to get a little shaggy, even like this, I'm like, just throw the hat on. Because what this does is it keeps it nice and tight. You got right the lines and it's fine, right? There's no busyness. And I think that that's really what I would say that OI is really rebelling against. Yes, I'm only tank top guy. I'm also hat guy. It depends on the day. It depends on the mood. That's good. That's good. That's funny. So I think that busyness is really what OI kind of is rebelling against. At least that's sort of the way I see it. So OI can be attached to a couple of things. It can be attached to your sleep, or it can be attached to your blast. So I call this, blasting off, blaster station, Raja's blasting corner, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? Because what I am doing in these videos is I am taking my known information about how objective personality works, and I am sharing it to you, the tribe members, right? Because I'm double activated on my OE at the bottom of my stack, I like to do them live because I don't have the patience to like write a script and film it and get 7 takes and then edit it together and the boop. No, stop. Let me just throw the camera on. Let me just, speak off the top of my head. I get some comments that can help shape the conversation, whatever. I'm done in half an hour. I contributed something, right? Way easier for me. But fundamentally, the seedling of all these videos is I am taking my known information with my OI and sharing it with you all, right? So that's the blasting side of organizing. And really what I'm doing, right? So even more at the core of that is like, because I am lead OI, it is not that I do not care about the people. It's not that I don't care who I'm talking to, right? But it's that my whole goal is to blast about a concept, an idea, a thing, right? As opposed to the emphasis being on me versus the tribe, right? Now, I will use myself and the tribe as a way to illustrate a larger point. Absolutely. When I, talking about DI and my own struggles with DI, it was absolutely relevant to talk about my own DI. Like it would not have served the idea that I'm trying to communicate if I didn't talk about the people. But if you have lead OI, everything that you do is in service of that organization, whatever that means to you. So in my case, it's I need to organize my thoughts and communicate them in such a way so that the people watching this really understand what it is I'm trying to tell them, right? So that does not mean that I won't take in new information. It doesn't mean that I won't SF, even though my blast is NT. It doesn't mean that I will ignore myself. Why? Because ignoring all of those things and just focusing on the OI and DE aspect of it would not communicate the point effectively, right? It wouldn't get me what I want. It would not have the optimal outcome. So I have to use all of these other tools in my toolkit. But the key here is that it's all of these other tools. I'm not using them for the sake of it. I'm using them for the OI. And here's where I think that OI is a little bit misunderstood. So it's not that we don't like chaos. That's true. We do not like chaos, but we're cool with it if it is in service of something else, right? We do not like novelty for novelty's sake. Like, I have a buddy, I am pretty sure he's lead play. I'm like 99% sure he's like a Gary Vaynerchuk type, but more of the MF goofball rather than the double masculine punch you in the face guy with it. But he is hardcore on the Gather. So he's an esports streamer, and he streams, not stream. He's like a host, like a broadcaster, right? He does Magic the Gathering. He'll do League of Legends. He'll do Smash. He'll do Halo. He'll do he doesn't care because his whole thing is like, I gotta be doing as much work for me and my hustle as I can and connect with as many people as possible, right? I think he's an EJ. He could be an EP, but like either way, he is very much all in on his DE and his OE, right? So for him, he always wants the next hot thing. That is 100. That's what he's always been attuned to. He always wants to play like the new hot strategy and whatever the best thing of the weekend is. And okay, well, this is the hot game right now. Okay, I guess that's what I'm streaming. And then as soon as that game stops being fun and new and cool, and the people have moved on again because his FE is really, really good. He's like, oh no, the tide is turning. Oh, the tide is moving toward this. Oh, okay, great. Let me jump onto this new thing and then just play with the people in that, right? So he's always going from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing and not really caring about, hang on, let me slow down. Let me just go back to what I already know and like, and let me just keep doing that, right? That's not his MO. And so he and we have very, very different approaches. His approach is incredibly well suited for esports hosting. It just is, right? Because I, as a lead OI, can't do that. Or not that I can't do that, but like it's enormously stressful. And I would need a bunch of other OI things to be organized for me to feel comfortable doing that much hopping around, right? Like I would need, it's like, okay, I stream for this company, and each week the company will say, all right, you have to go here and you're streaming this on Saturday. You have a week to learn everything you can. No one's going to bother you. You're fine. You're just going to do the thing. And then this is your thing for the week, your structure you're organizing. And that thing of the week will change every week. Super cool with that. That's great because there's enough OI structure that the gathering actually becomes fun. But if I'm just like trying to hustle and grind and gather and just like do a bunch of new shit, I'm like, no, stop. That's terrible. Why? No, I hate it. Which sort of brings me back to like, when would an OI person want to gather? I think that I am weirdly qualified to speak on this. And I say weirdly because I am lead OI, but it's single activated. So I'm a glass lizard, right? I'm like the super cranked up, energetic INTJ. So I have that double activated SE at the bottom of my stack. So I've been playing this sort of ping pong game my whole life of like, gotta fucking gather more. I'm really good at gathering. This is a muscle. And I'm like kind of responsible for it because like I have taken on that responsibility because I'm good at it and that muscle is so strong. But I also feel responsible to organize everything. And I have this tribe validation. So I'm like doing a lot of EJ-ish sort of stuff, but I'm doing it as a single observer conspiracy theory idiot, right? So I was talking to our buddy Dave Superpowers back when I first got typed about 2 years ago. And he said that, you know, I'm interesting, and this is sort of a thing that he sees with IJs of my type, right? The lead OIs of my type. That it's not that we won't gather. And especially somebody like me who has it double activated and my gather function is masculine, I can gather like crazy. That ain't the problem. But my gathering is always in service of what he calls my box. And I think that that is maybe the best way to think about what OI is trying to do. It's trying to put things in a box. It likes the box. The box is nice. I'm going to get to that in a second as to what makes the box so nice. But just to finish up this little side note, he's like, you have this box, and because mine, it's NI, it's feminine NI, it's exceptionally feminine NI as far as feminine NIs go. Like I'm very much on the spectrum of the feminine side of NI. And then he's like, it's big, it's abstract. The walls are kind of malleable, but like they're very much there. And when you move a wall, like when you have a boundary, like it's not the boundary gets erased, it gets moved, right? It's flexible. It's like, oh yeah, we can change the plan. We can be schmoopy about the plan, right? Oh no, there's a boulder in our way. Guess we better loop this plan around it, right? But it's still all about the plan. And he's like, what you'll do is you will gather, look back in your box and be like, okay, I got, all right, so there's a spot missing here. There's a thing I don't understand. Let me go out and gather with the express purpose of filling in that gap. And that is something that I think a healthy OI can do. Save your OI. Again, I'm extraordinarily lucky to be a glass lizard. I will say that to my dying breath. There is no other type I would rather be. I fucking won the lottery, be in this kind of glass lizard. It is unbelievable. I highly recommend it. So I'm like, oh, here's a gap here. Let me go out and gather this thing to fill in the gap. Case in point. So one of the things I've signed up for, I'm going to start seeing a nutritionist. Because I'm not super happy about my weight. I work out all the time. I walk a bunch, and just like I've hit a wall. Have not been seeing a lot of movement in the weight loss department, despite actively trying to do so. And I was like, well, we got the lifestyle. It's pretty good. And I'm, could be drinking more water, but like that's close to fine. I'm sleeping plenty. Okay. Maybe it's just the nutrition. So I sat up with a nutritionist. She's like, all right, I want you to do a food journal. I'm like, structured journaling. Oh boy. Okay. And I've been writing this down. You should see this thing. She's going to be she's either going to be thrilled or just devastated when she sees what I wrote, because like it's way more detail than I'm sure she actually wants. It's like, yesterday at 3 p.m., I had a quarter cup of overnight oats. This was unusual. I was not expecting to be even a little bit hungry until 5 to 6 p.m. This seemed like a better choice than the handful of nuts options, since I felt a little behind on my carb intake for the day and ahead on my protein intake, right? So like that's like what my OI just wants to do. But all that is to say, so I've been tracking the food, and today I was like, I got a little snack. I'm hungry enough for a snack. I've had plenty of protein. I've been doing the things. Fuck, what do I want? And I sort of like looked inward, did the OI sleep thing, and looked at myself, and I was like, man, I kind of want something like fruity. Like I want like I don't know, but I want something in the fruit realm, but that isn't just like a little sweet, but isn't too tart. Man, God damn it, I don't have any fruit in here, and I don't want to eat the yogurt. All right, I guess I better just go out and go to the grocery store and get some fruit. And I did. I looked inside of my OI box, saw there was a gap, and then just gathered the thing to fill in the gap. But crucially, what I was not doing was, I feel like going to the grocery store. Let me go to the grocery store and browse the aisles and feel my feelings and take in all the observations and see what I feel like and the boop and the butt. No, that's why, right? Whenever I go out to gather, it is an intensely targeted gathering. So now I want to talk about why OI loves the box so much. Because you talk to any OI, and eventually you'll get to the point where in the conversation, the concept of rules will come up. And that's where you can really see like what somebody is all about, right? We start talking about rules, because there are people who, like myself, love rules. The first thing I want to know when I'm playing any new game is, what are the rules? That's the first thing I ask. What are the rules of this game? Whether that is a board game, whether that is a social game. I was speaking with a friend. It's going to get mildly after dark, but like, don't worry about it. So I was talking to a buddy. We're talking about dating and how, so he's queer and I'm straight, and we were sort of sharing war stories about like what the two different dating scenes are like, especially in a city like Los Angeles that is incredibly diverse, but also does have a lot of class issues. It was a very interesting conversation. And we're like, we need rules in the bedroom. We have to know where the lines are, because now we know where we can play. Mr. Rogers talks about this all the time. He talks about like children need boundaries. They need structure. They need edges on their sandbox, because now they know, oh, okay, that's as far as I can go. Cool. That means that anything inside of here is totally fair game. And to somebody with OI, we're like, oh my God, fucking thank you. Now I know the safe word is banana. So I know that anything that you say that isn't banana, we're good. As soon as you say banana, we hit a wall, no harm, no foul. That's the wall. We back off, we stop. Right? And so there's the other thing I want to bring up, and So this guy, he has not been officially typed. Dave and I both suspect that he and I are type twins, that we are MF, NITE, blast, play, consume, sleep. We think, we don't know. The person I'm talking about is not Hassan Minhaj, who has been officially typed as my type twin. Just saying. But Keegan Michael Key. And you can sort of see it with the facial hair. I'm not bald, but even he takes great care. It's like, this is a dumb thing, but like, he takes great care to make sure that his head is very clean looking. Another one who I think he's my version of, I think he's an INFJ. I don't think he's INTJ like me, but it's Karamo Brown, guy from Queer Eye. Look at, again, we all, yes, okay, fine. Dark skin, tall-ish men with beards, ha ha ha, whatever, funny. But look at his whole aesthetic, and especially like from the neck up, the way he crafts how he looks. He's very, very attuned to the deliberate chaos, right? So like, he'll occasionally wear flashy clothes. The majority of his flash comes in one place, and that is his hats. He is a hat fiend. But he's really also kind of structured and organized and boring about his hats, because they're all LA Dodgers hats with the same LA Dodgers logo. It's just a different color. And the other way that he'll sort of flare up is he has a bunch of bomber jackets. But even there, like, it's not like he has a bunch of different kinds of jackets. He has one kind of jacket that just has a bunch of different colors in it, right? But to go back to my buddy Keegan for a second, he said something really interesting when he was talking about the substitute teacher sketch. You can look it up on YouTube. It's like, in some ways, it's like the perfect internet sketch. Like, structurally, it's just flawless. There's nothing about that sketch that's wrong. At least in my humble opinion. I am not a sketch master. I've studied it and I like sketch comedy, but like, I'm not an expert. So if I'm wrong, I'm happy to be wrong. But like that, and a slave auction one is also really good. But I want to talk about substitute teacher, because he talks about substitute teacher a lot. He's like, with substitute teacher, the whole premise of like sketch and improv and all this stuff, it comes down to rules. We have to know the rules. If we don't know the rules, then we don't know what game we are playing. If you put me on a big turf, right, with no markings whatsoever, I have no idea what game we are playing. As soon as you start drawing 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards, oh, we're playing football. Cool. Great. Now I know what game we're playing. Or let's say you draw just a midfield line with a circle in the middle and then a couple of boxes on each end. Oh, okay, now we're playing soccer, right? Or, European football. Cool. Now I know what game we're playing. But he talks about basketball a lot because he likes basketball. Makes sense. We're tall. We like basketball. And he's like, the way that the sketch writer set that up, he said he set up the rules with a lot of plum. He's like, Mr. Garvey walks in, you immediately get a sense of who he is. It's like, I'm from Detroit. I'm from the inner city. I don't want to take no guff. Great. We have a character. We have a thing. Okay, so that's rule number one. Rule number one is Garvey is this person. He looks at the roster. He says Jay Quellen. Pans to the students. None of the students are black. It's a bunch of white kids. Jay Quellen, little girl raises her hand. She says, "Do you mean Jacqueline?" I got my eye on you, Jay Quellen. Okay. And the way he describes, I'll see if I can find the clip. Now we know the rules. Now we know the rules of this sketch. the way the game is played, Mr. Garvey, who is this kind of person, says a certain thing, right? Jaqueline, Aaron, Balake, D nice. And then the student responds confusedly with their very white name. And once we have the rules, now we can just, in his words, play basketball for 3 to 4 minutes. And I think that's such a beautiful illustration of what OI is trying to do and what it wants to do, because it likes the rules, because now we know where we can play. Now we can have fun, and I'm not constantly fucking worried. I'm like, okay, well, like imagine a sandbox with no wood on the sides, right? But okay, well, now I don't know where the sandbox ends and where like the dirt begins, right? Because the dirt, like once now I'm playing in the dirt, that's different than playing in sandbox, right? And if I need water to like wet down the sand and like make a sandcastle, well, if I put water and there's nowhere, if the water can just fucking go anywhere, now it just gets messy and weird. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I, as a lead OI, if I feel responsible for organizing and that organizational clarity, now, now it's like, I don't have that and I'm responsible for it. And now I'm upset. Right. So let's talk about why OI sucks. So OI can kick your ass if you're too hardcore about it, because it makes it harder to try new things. That doesn't mean you can't grow, but it does pose a little bit of a problem, right? Because if you are savior OI, right? If you're like, I'm organizing, I'm doing the organizing thing. Well, a really easy way to grow is to just try new shit, right? So if you're unwilling to try new shit, it's gonna be harder for you to grow, right? And what will end up happening is you'll end up like reworking the same thing over and over and over and over again, and like trying to make it different, right? It's like it's like that scene in Airplane, right? Where there's like they're in the control tower and the guy's like, "What can you make?" I fucking love this scene. He hands him the report. He's like, "What do you make of this, Johnson?" He's like, "Ooh, I can make a brooch, a hat, a pterodactyl." That's what that's what OI is doing. It's like, look, I'm making all of these new different things. No, you're not. It's still a piece of paper. It's not actually a pterodactyl. Calm down. It's fucking great. But that's what OI is doing. It's like, look, I made this new different thing. No, you did not. It's not actually fundamentally new and different. You're not integrating anything new into your psyche. Look, like as much as I have SF consume, right? Yes, sure, I like to consume new things. I like to watch movies. There are very few things I can like really rewatch over and over and over again, especially now that I'm older. When I was a little kid, look, I could watch Happy Gilmore a million times, Braveheart, History of the World Part 1. Like, I could watch these over and over and over again. I'd never get bored. Just again, watching the same thing over and over and over again, right? To the point that I had it memorized. Now that I've gotten older and my SE's gotten better, I'm like, yeah, I like taking in new things. I don't necessarily need or like to watch the same thing over and over again. But the genres I like and will gravitate towards don't really change, right? It's like, I know that I like media that's a little hardcore, that's a little violent, that's a little sexy, it's got a little bit of an edge to it. I want a little dark, right? I like it to be macabre, not like aggressively misogynistic. Like, I don't like that, right? It's not stuff I want to consume because I know I don't like that. I don't want new shit of that. But like, as long as it falls in this realm of like, again, I talk about Sons of Anarchy a lot, but like that sort of like dramatic, gritty, tough, like Ozark, right? I'll consume sort of new things, but it's still very much in the same realm, right? So I want to end talking about clarity because again, that's a big. Would that also be in your FI box? Yes. So that's sort of like the second layer to it is that because my I do have sleep. It's my fourth animal, but it's attached to my first function, so it's a thing that's not really hard for me to do that much of. Like, it's not hard for me to get there because it's attached to my first function, right? And that is very much like my FI likes this stuff, but as far as the OI goes, my OI knows generally what to expect. I know that I can expect some hardcore violence. I know that I can expect some sexy cheerleaders, whatever it may be. I'm not taken by surprise, and it's not like, whoa, that's nope, right? It's still fundamentally predictable. So just to end about voids and clarity, the void that I leave being OI, right? We talked about that of like not trying new shit. And if your focus is like, homing in on your known information and refining that and communicating that in sort of that blast, sleep, douchebag, know-it-all kind of way, the void you're leaving is being open to new possibilities. And again, part of the reason I like these live videos is so that I can answer questions and like that it isn't just me yammering for half an hour. There's like a little bit of extra communication, but not too much. Not too much. This is like, right, just a couple of questions here and there is perfect, right? So the clarity, right, I think is really, clear, haha. But it's like, okay, OI clarity, that makes sense. Cool. Whether it's, an NI plan or it is a, sort of like where do all of the, things in a spreadsheet go? There's also that kind of clarity. Absolutely. But it means that the future is really kind of murky and future possibilities are fuzzy and I don't really know what's going to happen. And I don't know. That's vague. It's uncertain. I'm not here for it. Right. So my big task in life is to be able to go, okay, I have this OI clarity. I have a really clear plan or a fairly clear plan. But then that future possibility, that's what I need to work on sharpening. And that's what I need to work on sort of bringing into focus and bringing into balance with my OI, my NI, is like, okay, here's what I know. Here's what I don't know. Okay, we can live in this sort of balanced, clear enough-ish place where I have clarity about the OI and clarity about the OE. Now we can really start cooking. And where I've gotten in trouble in the past, where a lot of people can get in trouble, is if they're like, okay, I have this OI clarity, but the OE is fuzzy. The way to fix that is to just make the OI even more clear in the hopes that the OE will magically catch up. That's not quite how it works, right? You really do have to like focus both of them independently and then bring them into focus together. And then ultimately, the clear picture is not going to be on the extreme of either end, but it's going to be something where both of them are seeing each other with relative clarity. You can move forward. It's not one or the other is too fuzzy. And then look, as you gather new experiences or organize things more, things are going to get a little out of line. So it's just a matter of constantly making these small tweaks here and there to make sure that you're maintaining clarity in all the different dimensions. All right, that's all I got for today. Thank you for listening to me dawdle about my favorite function, OI. If you have comments, questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.